Imagine you could lose weight by practically bathing in butter and oil. Sounds totally contradictory at first, right? After all, we've been taught that eating fat makes you fat. But what if I told you that this exact principle, or at least part of it, is behind an extremely effective weight loss method? Welcome to this video. Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to the myth that you have to swim in fat to shed pounds. We'll clear up the difference between low-carb and the ketogenic diet and figure out which strategy might be right for you. Before we dive into the details, let's briefly clarify why both low-carb and keto focus on reducing carbohydrates. It's simple. Carbohydrates, especially simple ones like sugar and white flour, send your blood sugar on a roller coaster ride. This leads to cravings, and your body releases insulin. Insulin is a storage hormone that loves to pack excess energy into fat stores. So, fewer carbs often mean more stable blood sugar, fewer cravings, and potentially less fat storage. This is the foundation both diets are built on. Let's start with low carb. As the name suggests, it's about reducing carbohydrate intake. But what does that mean exactly? With a typical low-carb diet, you usually land somewhere between 50 and 150 grams of carbs per day. That is significantly less than what most people eat by default, but it still leaves room for some flexibility. You can still eat good amounts of vegetables. Berries are often included, and depending on your approach, even small portions of whole grains or legumes. The focus is clearly on more protein and healthy fats, but it's not extremely strict. The big advantage of low carb is that it's more practical for everyday life for many people. You don't have to plan every meal down to the last detail. You can even eat out without completely falling off the wagon. It's a great way to get a feel for how your body reacts to fewer carbs. And often, the first few pounds start dropping right here, while your energy levels stabilize. And now, we come to the ketogenic diet, often just called keto. This is where things get much more specific, and where the image of swimming in fat comes into play. With keto, you radically reduce carbs, usually to under 50 grams per day. Many aim for just 20 to 30 grams. That is really very little. The key here is to force the body into a metabolic state called ketosis. When the body has hardly any glucose from carbs available, it starts converting fat into so-called ketone bodies. These ketone bodies then become the primary energy source for your body and brain. To achieve this, you have to massively increase your fat intake. About 70 to 80% of your daily calories should come from fat. Protein plays a moderate role and carbs play a minimal one, so you eat a lot of avocado, nuts, seeds, fatty meat and fish, good oils and butter, along with green, low-carb vegetables. Swimming in fat here means that fat becomes your main energy source, and you have to consciously eat a lot of it to keep your engine running. The benefits can be impressive. Often faster weight loss at the beginning, very stable energy without crashes, and improved mental clarity. Keto is also used therapeutically, for example, for epilepsy, or to positively impact type 2 diabetes. But keto requires discipline, precise tracking of macronutrients, and in the beginning, you might experience the so-called keto flu while your body adjusts. Let's clearly summarize the main differences again. First, the carbohydrate amount, moderately reduced on low carb, extremely low on keto. Second, fat intake, increased on low carb, very high on keto. It's the main energy source. Third, protein intake, often quite high on low carb, but rather moderate on keto because too much protein can disrupt ketosis. Fourth, the primary fuel source. With low carb, it's a mix. The body still uses glucose, but also increasingly fat. With keto, it's mainly ketone bodies from fat. And fifth, strictness, and flexibility. Low carb is significantly more flexible and easier to implement in daily life. Keto requires strict adherence to the rules to stay in ketosis. The goal with low carb is often a general improvement in diet and moderate weight loss, while keto often aims for faster weight loss or specific therapeutic effects by fundamentally shifting the metabolism. Let's get back to our original question. Do you have to swim in fat to lose weight? Well, for a classic low-carb diet, no, not really. You do increase the portion of healthy fats, but it's more about a balanced reduction of carbohydrates. When it comes to the ketogenic diet, the answer looks a bit different. Here, fat is the absolute star of the show. You have to ensure you're consuming enough fat so your body can produce ketone bodies and has energy. So it doesn't mean literally swimming in deep fryer grease, but rather a conscious, significantly increased intake of healthy fats. Whether low carb or keto, one thing is clear. Losing weight ultimately always works through a calorie deficit. However, these diets can make it easier for you to reach this deficit by, for example, regulating hunger better or optimizing your metabolism. So, which of these two diets is better for you? That depends entirely on your personal goals, your lifestyle, and your health conditions. Low carb can be a fantastic starting point to reduce carb intake and see initial results without having to restrict yourself too much. But if you say you want maximum results, are ready for a bigger change, and perhaps want to utilize the specific benefits of ketosis, then keto might be the right path. However, if you have pre-existing health conditions, you should always discuss such a drastic change like keto with your doctor first. With both approaches, it's important to focus on high-quality, unprocessed foods. Plenty of vegetables should always be the foundation. So, I hope this video has shed some light on the terms low carb and keto and showed you what's behind the idea of swimming in fat. It's not about stuffing yourself with unhealthy food, but about specifically influencing your metabolism. What experiences have you had with low carb or keto? Or what questions do you still have? Feel free to write them in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your opinion. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more info on nutrition and health. Until next time, stay healthy.